Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you're back. I am excited to share more of what I have up in this noggin. And today we're going to talk about dating a 9-to-5er or dating an entrepreneur and what may work well for you. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or you're a guy and you're here checking out this video. I hope that what I say helps you out and informs you enough to know what kind of decisions you're making in your dating life before you get into it. But before we get into that, I want to shout out our sponsor. All right, so Sweet Dragon is 100% vegan food and drinks truck. It is clean food only, a variety of delicious foods and drinks for you guys to try. If you're local to Tampa, Florida, definitely come and check them out. They also do catering, and fun fact, they're also Black owned. Don't forget to try them if you're in town. All right, so let's talk about dating a 9-to-5er. So dating a 9-to-5er requires a lot more structure. It requires someone that has a lot more of a, they kind of are comfortable with a more monotonous kind of lifestyle. And when I mean a lot more structure, I mean structure around the time, because it's not that there's structure, it's more of like there's no wiggle room. How about that? There's no wiggle room around the time that this person already has blacked out for their job or for their whatever they got going on, their career, right? So when they have this time blocked out, when you're dating a person who's a 9-to-5er, it makes you feel like, man, life is just the same over and over. I have to constantly plan around a person's 9-to-5 schedule, and it's just so boring, and everything we do has to be either earlier than 9 a.m. or it has to be later than 7 p.m. And by the time they get home, they're exhausted and they're probably uninterested in doing anything because all their energy was sucked out at their office or at their 9-to-5 employment. And not all 9-to-5 jobs are terrible. It's just that 9-to-5 gap for most people is so boring, and they feel like you just had your whole day like literally stripped away from you, taken away from you. And whenever you come back home, whatever is left is just mopey and like yawn. And it just becomes such a boring routine for most people. And if you're a man or a woman dating someone that is a 9-to-5er, it would make more sense if you were also a 9-to-5er, unless you do appreciate someone that has a different schedule than you, that has a little bit more flexibility, because it allows you to not worry as much. So what I mean by not worry as much, it allows you to maybe even yourself be like, man, I know I'm trapped in this 9-to-5 stuff, but at least my partner is able to work on other things that that kind of will facilitate more of our freedom or more flexibility from me. And entrepreneur jobs tend to be one of those kind of lifestyles that you have a lot of flexibility with your time, but you still have to have a lot of discipline. So when you date an entrepreneur, you're thinking, oh, you know, we'll be able to go anywhere at any time. But the thing with entrepreneurship is that anything could pop up at any time, like a meeting, like you might fly somewhere else to go handle this, that, and the other, or you just randomly got booked for this and that, and you got to show up within the next 24 hours, or you gotta be here at this certain time, and then the next thing you got booked for is like a complete annoying 4-hour stretch, and now you've got to figure out how to fill in that empty time. And you know, to some people, they find that annoying, someone that has time taken up by what they're hired for. Like if every couple of hours you're hired for something, then that's how your schedule gets booked. It's not like a sure thing. So if I schedule a date with you on Friday at 7 p.m. and I get booked at 6 to do a meeting or a show or whatever it is, because when you're an entrepreneur, every step takes you to that end goal. And I'm not saying that in a 9 to 5 situation you don't have that. I'm saying a 9 to 5 situation, it's more about stability and a different type of consistency and monotony. Whereas entrepreneurship, it gives you a lot of time, autonomy. It gives you a lot of time for other extracurricular things you want to do. But again, you may have to stop what you're doing to take care of the end goal in this entrepreneurial job. Okay? Like, you know that in this career, if you need to reach this goal of $10 million, you can't just skip out on this meeting or this project or this seminar or this. Do you get what I mean? It's just, it requires a different type of discipline, and a lot of the time is being able to say, I can't do this right now. I got to drop everything I'm doing right now to go take care of that. Whereas 9 to 5 is like, hey, my time is all booked up from 9 to 5, and that's all the time I really have to give it like 100% my all while I'm here. Some people do come home and take their work home, which I do not recommend. But, entrepreneurs always have their work on their mind, even while they're not on the clock, their own clock. Because, like I said, entrepreneur, it's like more of a 24-hour job. Whereas the 9 to 5, if you're working for somebody, you're just working for those X amount of hours for them, and then coming back home, then your family life becomes your decompressor. Whereas for an entrepreneur, a lot of the in-between time is their decompressor. It's not, they don't have a regulated schedule for decompression and relaxation or going on dates and things like that. Sure, they take vacations based on how much they made that year or how well they're doing, but most entrepreneurs cannot just do whatever they want, because most of their work is contractual. So after my work is done, then I'm getting paid, right? Not a 9 to 5 where, every week or every 2 weeks, you're getting paid. So what do you do when you're a 9 to 5er and you want to date an entrepreneur? You just have to simply, and same thing, vice versa, entrepreneur trying to date a 9 to 5er. You just got to know what their goal is. Like, if their goal is, hey, I don't want to do anything in my life besides work 9 to 5, and there's like, I'm not even trying to be the vice president of this company. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to like get this money and go home. Then, maybe it would be smart for you to be like, you know what? I could probably give it my all to my company as an entrepreneur, so I could give my partner more flexibility if you see that being a long-term relationship, and maybe encourage them to become an entrepreneur. It's not easy. It's a hard transition from a 9 to 5er to an entrepreneur, but it can happen. And the same thing, if you see that the entrepreneur life isn't as, it's not helping your partner, as in it makes them anxious, it makes them feel super, it makes them feel too unstable, offer a little bit of help as far as giving them like a more structured kind of schedule, or giving them a little bit of a better schedule. Because I think that's the difference between really a 9 to 5er and an entrepreneur, is the schedule. So if you know what it's like to, be consistent in a schedule, not to say that entrepreneurs don't have that, but just maybe helping them sort that out a little bit better. So it's easier for them to balance the time that they need to offer you, or the time they need to offer themselves. Because sometimes an entrepreneur will work themselves way too much. And it's like, I understand that you don't go to an office, but you still have a life outside of work. So don't make it your whole entire life. And this is in the case of you guys are both in a relationship. Not, I'm single entrepreneur, you're single entrepreneur. Our schedule's our schedule. When we can meet up, we can meet up. If we can't, then, you know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to make it work, it would make sense for you guys to see what parts of your schedules completely butt heads and work to create more balance. Because all in all, entrepreneurs need balance and 9-to-5ers need freedom. And it can be a very nice relationship when married together and having all the right tools. But sometimes it can be really difficult when you're dating someone who's like a 9-to-5er and you're just like going to sleep at 3, 4, 5 a.m. and you wake up in the afternoon. Thank God, like I could go to sleep at 4 a.m., but I am waking up, I shit you not, the latest 9:30 or 9:22 a.m. because it's just like cannot sleep. Like when the sunlight hits my face, it's just not happening. I'm going to be awake. But for the most part, like it's not easy because of schedules. It's like the sleeping patterns are very off, very different, and it's tough for couples to work around that, especially if you guys are planning to have children. Because if you have a person who's an entrepreneur, they got to make it a thing to prioritize their family and their children and all that stuff. They have to make it a thing if it's important to them. So if you're dating someone and they're not prioritizing the time that they're spending with you, or the time they need to spend with their children, or the time that, with their own children too, like might not be the children they have with you, maybe the children they have, and they just prioritize their business too much, whether you're a 9-to-5er or a entrepreneur, it's going to affect things negatively if you do not grab a hold of your schedule and know how to, bring balance to that. I personally love dating entrepreneurs because I like seeing a person free. I don't like seeing a person having to go to somebody and, go to somebody else's business and make them rich. And I said business. Go to somebody else's business and make them rich. I'd rather you just do that for yourself and build your own company up. And yeah, the hours are longer and you may be getting less pay, but you feel better knowing it's for you. 9-to-5, I did that too. Dated guys that are 9-to-5ers. I think it works for me both ways. But my preference is entrepreneurs. But 9-to-5ers are also great because they, it's a sure thing, that they're gonna go to work and come home and spend their time with you, or that they feel secure, that they have something that's a sure thing, or at least that's what they think, because nothing's a sure thing, not even life. So, it has its perks, but what I've noticed while dating 9-to-5ers is that a lot of the time they feel like their soul is being sucked out of their body working for all these companies and not working on their dreams and the things that they want to accomplish. And usually it's very far down the line when they're completely tired and just drained and like freaking bags under their eyes talking about, I'm tired. But I think it just has to get there. You got to be really tired of a 9-to-5 job to leave a 9-to-5 job, leave that source of stability, especially if you have family and children and stuff like that. It's a lot. Anyways, if you want to date an entrepreneur, I think the first thing you should ask is, how do you manage your time? How do you balance it? What is most important to you about, what you're doing with your business, and how that's going to help or reflect in your personal life, in your love life.